Hello, and welcome to a new playthrough of Factorio Space Age. We are returning after a hiatus. I did start a Space Age playthrough a while back, but it got interrupted. So went off and did other things for a while. And we are going to jump right in here. I have locked us to 2.0.69 for the moment. I have nothing against the experimentals, but I thought, let's start off with 2069. Boom, continue. Now, I have some achievements picked out, which is why I wanted to start out right here. I wanted to load up a save rather than show the creation. This is a lightly modded playthrough. You'll notice I have a time control up there. And I am going to be trying to constrain myself, along with I want to get to the space age stuff. I want to pick up some achievements on the way, because this is modded. This isn't the official Steam achievements, yada, 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 yada. But it's the same set of achievements with a few removed. But I want to basically satisfy my curiosity as to how hard these achievements are in Space Age. We're going to be doing Lazy Bastard, which means we get 111 handcrafts. That's it. And that's all we can do in handcrafting until we launch a rocket. Okay, well, Space Age launching a rocket is much earlier in the tech tree and much cheaper. But on the other hand, LB runs, typically you use up all your handcrafting very early on, and then you do no more handcrafting for it. In fact, I believe I have the settings set so I can't handcraft at all right now. Crafting, yeah, I have those not set. I need to have these set to allow me to craft. I am going to, set. I'm going to take away the craft all and the craft 5. So I'm going to have to left click for each thing I want to craft. Okay. Confirm. Was there anything else I had crafted here? I think my picker. Well, we'll work out that later. Anyway, so we have 111 handcrafts. Logistic network embargo says basically don't build any blue or purple or green chests until you've got some science done from somewhere else. And Rush to Space says do science from some other planet, complete science from some other planet before unlocking yellow and purple. So we can't even start researching yellow and purple. So LB run, I need all the resources. I am going to start off, well, let's run a little faster here. My purpose in this playthrough is to get to Space Age, so don't mind if I run at fast speed a little bit. There. Pick you up. So basically, I am going to need to accumulate some resources. Let's go start off with accumulating some coal. An easy way to do that is to put our wood in here and just have the coal come out. While he is going, I am going to go pick up some of this stuff. Grab the coal we already had. We are running at 4x speed right now, just because this is going to be so slow. Now, during this playthrough, because it's an LB run, I won't be able to handcraft things to speed things up. We're going to be stuck with one miner for a very, very long time. Okay. While that's going on, let's take a look at our hotbars. I do need to monitor resources I've picked up so I know when I need to go get more. So there's coal and wood and stone. I also need to monitor my stashes of iron plate and copper plate, which will be very important. And while I'm thinking about it, let's go ahead and set up our hotbar here. We're mainly just waiting for coal right now. Inserters, I'm going to be using long-handled inserters and regular inserters. Actually, let's swap those. Later on, we'll add more. I will need pipes, not too distant future, and I'm going to reserve a spot for pumps. And we do start out with burner miners, and there we are, stone furnaces. This guy has stopped moving, which means you are full. I'm going to get more coal going out here. Now, I think this is... I don't have a whole lot more I can do that's meaningful for the recording for a bit. We're going to be acquiring coal here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go behind a curtain and accelerate time and basically accumulate coal and accumulate copper plate by moving this whole thing here, and accumulate iron plate by moving this whole thing here. That is going to unlock some research. So we will unlock steam power and electronics. And I will come back when I have a whole bunch of iron plate and copper plate in my inventory, and coal, and we'll be ready to go on to the next thing. And let's see if I can do this correctly. Switch up the curtain and hit the pause button. So quick side note while we're behind the curtain, if you are doing a lazy bastard run, my suggestion is that while you are sitting and waiting for resources to appear in your factory, you open up the Factoriopedia. In fact, let me take the curtain away while I'm doing this. You open up the Factoriopedia, and you start looking at the other planets and what they can do, what the conditions are, what they can make. For instance, on Vulcanus, you'll be making faster belts, but most importantly, this is where you unlock better mining drills and better foundries. Fulgora, you unlock a recycler that can basically take anything as input and reduce it to its components with some restrictions. It like 25% of the stuff back, and there's some things that it doesn't do, but it's pretty good. You get an electromagnetic plant, which is like a assembling machine on steroids. It has base productivity that's higher. Gleba, which is a biological planet. So this is all about farming and decay, spoilage, and how to handle that. So basically a volcanic area where you pump up a whole bunch of lava and turn it into iron and copper. A scrap wasteland where you are picking up scrap and you are recycling it to get all your materials. Notice there's no iron and copper here. You start off with scrap and you recycle. And you get stuff that you recycle, and you recycle things you make, and you recycle. So there's the cycle here. A kilo will be hitting later. I have not gotten to a kilo yet on any of my playthroughs because I keep noticing things. I think things like, 70 episodes in and all the audio is borked. But apparently cryogenic plants are, I've noticed a lot of things that you make in chem labs you can make in cryo plants. So interesting stuff there. Anyway, spend your time while you're waiting for resources going through Factoriopedia, looking at recipes, trying to understand how they fit together, trying to understand what the loops are, where you have a complete cycle of something. So something goes into A, goes into B, that goes into C, and it produces something, goes back into A. Get those cycles in your head. So when we actually get to those remote planets, we'll be comfortable with what's going on. Not memorized, but comfortable. And I will unshroud when it is time to continue. And we are back. I have entirely too much resources. Now, let's see. Flash time in this game. That took about 4 hours. It was 4 hours of puttering around in Factoriopedia / letting time move faster because I've already done all that puttering around and taking notes. But Yeah, you can basically sit there and turn that stuff out. At this point, our next phase is to try to get power going. Sorry, suddenly I had to cough. We've unlocked a bunch of things. Basically, we unlocked electronics by making copper plate. That taught us how to make copper cable and electronic circuits and labs and inserters and small electric poles. And by doing iron plate, that got us pipes and offshore pumps, boilers, and steam engines. Now, in order to make power, which is our next challenge, we do need to construct some things. We have 111 crafts. That's it. So, I am going to need a steam engine. That requires steam, so I am going to need a boiler. That requires water, so we're going to need an offshore pump. That will get power going. Power is going to do us no good. We need to start getting research completed so we can get automation. We need to get automation research so I can put down an assembler, stop handcrafting things. So, need a lab. We also will need a electric pole to connect the lab to the power system. I'm going to put these on my hotbar so I can see them. So I can make absolutely sure that I don't build an extra one. How many times have I done that? Built something that I already had in my inventory during a lazy bastard run. Okay, so we now have, because we've made a lab, we now know how to make automation science packs. So I need to build the power, connect up the lab, and feed it 10 flasks. So I am going to start the 10 flasks going. Count it carefully. And now we can build this. Put it anywhere. We will be moving this later because this is not the best place for the science or for the power. Put all the pieces down, and need to have something here connected. And the first thing we are going to research is automation. If you try to do anything else, you will blow your Factorio lazy bastard run. Now, we have 111 crafts we can do. And I'm pretty sure that an absolute careful run where you reuse your stone furnace. Speaking of which, oh, I reused my stone furnace, didn't I? Gosh, I hope I've got enough resources. If you collect enough plate beforehand, you can use your stone furnace that you start out with to make the boiler. And that will assure an absolute minimum number of handcrafts in this run. If you didn't pick it up, and when you crafted the boiler, it made a stone furnace and used up one more craft. So, we're ready to go here. We should have 10 science in our pocket. I'm going to give you some coal. And I'm going to give you the science. And that should finish automation. Now, this is another matter of sitting here waiting for this to complete. Let's take a look at what we've unlocked so far. We do have inserters. Okay. So we know how to make inserters, which are powered. We know how to make all of this stuff already. The intermediates that we need are copper cable and electronic circuits. And We don't know how to make assemblers yet, but I'm going to put them down. Put them on my hotbar. Okay, so I like to build what's called a nanobase when I'm doing things by hand. There are two possible builds in the nanobase. I need to get out some boxes. First build is for things that only require one ingredient. So for instance, I could put iron gear wheels over there and transport belts over there. Need to push Alt at least once to turn on that stuff so you can see what's going on. So now, we have automation now. Yay! In order for all this to work, I have to make one assembly machine by hand. This is the absolute minimum. There's no way to get around this. Okay, so there's that. But this is the first kind of thing, well, the first kind of thing you make is just putting a machine out and just saying, well, I will program the machine for what I want to make. I'll put ingredients in for it. I will take the ingredients out when I've got enough of them and we're done. That would be for really simple stuff, okay? Like if I am making stone furnaces, I can put in stone, and when I've got enough of them, I can take out the remaining stone and it'll finish up. This is for 2. Oh, and there's the first thing is that I need to have my picker on a different button. So settings, this is something I do. There is a picker where if you hit Q, it puts on your cursor the thing that's there. Oh, we can turn off crafting. I believe I don't need to do any more handcrafting at all in this run. 101. Miscellaneous. Missed it somewhere. WASD. Character select screen. Firm window. Clear cursor pipette. So having clear cursor and pipette tool on the same key always messes me up. So I am going to change this to F16. That's actually a key. I'm using a keyboard that has extra function keys. So that's actually near my pinky where I can get at it. So we are going to confirm this. So now if I hit that button, we get one of these. So this is for simple stuff. For slightly more complex things, I like to have something like, oops, something like this. The idea is these machines can all draw their input from the box. We say, this machine outputs to this machine, that machine outputs to that. And then we can do that. Only thing remaining, well, one of the 2 things remaining, we need an output for this machine, and we're going to need power. And I like to put in power like that, so we can take this and basically repeat it diagonally and have a bunch of these clusters. That's what I call a nanobase. The typical thing I will do is we will be making copper coils, electronic circuits. That gets electronic circuits that can feed into something. And there's a number of things that are made with gears and electronic circuits. So we'll be using this number of places. So things that have 1 ingredient like this, things that have 2 ingredients like that. I am going to go ahead and look. Oh, I need to shuffle all of these blueprints away into nowhere. Hold on. Give me a second to take care of that. There we go. I thought I had cleared those out. And there they are, old blueprints. If I absolutely need them, I can dip into old blueprints to pick up this stuff. I think the only ones I want to pick up We've got a tileable nuclear layout, which I may use if we need to blat out a nuclear plant and I don't want to take the time to design one. I have some special circuits that I've worked up to demonstrate some things. So for instance, I have a hysteresis demo that says if a signal goes above a certain point, we turn on a switch, and if we get below a certain point that's even lower, we turn it off. But that's something where you want to charge up to 80% and then stop charging until you fall to 20%. Backup power switch is a little more complicated. It handles our backup power. And belt rate monitor is something I worked out which will show us how fast things are moving on a belt. So we may use those. Most of the rest of this, I don't want to even touch. But it's there because I haven't figured out what's there and what isn't. I will recreate my planners as needed. I will recreate my space platforms as needed. All of this is going to be done new. I may reach in and pull out my rail stuff because it's kind of fiddly to get all that working. See, we will see. But mostly, I don't want to be touching this set of blueprints. In Magic, there's a couple in Magic I'll want to pull out. Even did a wonderful solar array, and Catherine of Sky has been using it since then, and she's got a blueprint which has 4 instances of it. Those are wonderful. Also, somebody synthesized a pump jack blueprint which has pump jacks on every location. You cannot do this in the game, but this is such a time saver to put out pump jacks because they are just, if you've put out pump jacks on a pump jack field, you know what I mean. And there's some recent stuff with building N by N splitters and what is Zabber's complete? This guy had a bunch of space age blueprints that I was looking at. We're not going to worry about that. I'm going to try to avoid using old blueprints. Anyway, let's make a blueprint book called Nanobases. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up some blueprints real quick. So we're going to do this guy. And you are actually going to be twin 2X assemblers. And I am going to make this a parametric blueprint. So 0 and 1. We're going to get in the habit of building blueprints for everything. Build a thing that needs a different thing. So, part of the challenge on this one's going to be, if I build a thing that needs a thing, for, say, belts. First ingredient's iron plate, and the second ingredient is the other thing we need to build. I guess if we need, well, we won't use it for much else. So it's got limited usage. So how we configure this is, here's what I picked up from the ground. Oh, wait a minute. Let's set some filters up here so I can do this. This guy is going to be forwarding. I like having filters set on my inserter so I can see what I'm doing. Both of these take the same main ingredient, and that's not always going to be true. So what we're going to do is I'm going to say that you are actually building parameter 0. You are forwarding parameter 0. Okay? Input is going to be parameter 1, which is the first ingredient. Let's check this. First ingredient is the raw ingredient. Second ingredient is the other thing. This would be, we could build burner inserters like this. We could do pipe to grounds like this. Everything else. Yeah, this blueprint is going to be strictly limited usage. If we did offshore pump, we would take gears from the box and pipes from there. Yeah, okay, so this is going to be limited usage. This may be too much sugar for a nickel, but I'm going to do it anyway as an exercise. You're going to be parameter 2 that we're moving over. You're going to be building parameter 2. You're taking parameter 1, which is your raw ingredient. You're going to be taking parameter 3, which is your raw ingredient. Now, if we were building this later in the game, this would be a requester chest, which would, you know, take all of that stuff. Because we are so early in the game, I'm not going to do anything else fancy, those circuits or anything. We're just going to go into Nanobases and we're going to grab this. I'm going to say select new contents. There we go. Now, what we're doing here. Parameter 0 is our end product. And parameter 2 is our sub-assembly. This is an ingredient of parameter... Oh, whoop. Hold on. It does the ingredients in order. So... material for product. This is ingredient of 0, so the first ingredient will be taken from the box. Subassembly is the second ingredient, and the third guy is ingredient of number 2. Okay, over-engineering, my motto, my habit. There we go. If I put one of these down somewhere, I could say the product is belts. I could go here and I could say the product is, what did I say was also doable in here? Pipe to ground. Okay, we'd have that. Now, these guys don't have any power in them, which is I'm running power manually. That's all right. I can run power manually. And that's good. Now, up here, if I look at these guys, it's got raw material, simple, and complex. So you are making 0. And parameter 1 of these guys, the next one is iron plate. Taking parameter 1 from there. Okay. Parameter 2 is this guy. You have to do these in order. Well, you don't have to do them in order here, but they have to appear. You have to be able to say you are an ingredient in order. 2, and you have your ingredient from there. And this is going to be 4, which is your complex ingredient. Okay. Oh, this guy is sending a 0 out the north. Okay, so here's the complex ingredient. Now for complex ingredients like typically electronic circuits, the first thing is going to be down here. So this is going to be filter 5, and this is going to be 6. Wow, I don't think I have used this many parameters. You are making 6, and your input is 7. Okay, there we go. All labeled out. So let's grab this. This is a quad. What a quad. Actually, let's keep it simple. I'm going to say this is a parametric. We're building 0. We're building 4 of them. We're building them in assembly machine runs, and we're putting the output in a box. Okay. Parameters. So remember what we did in the order here. The first thing is we're going to specify 0, our product. Zero. Number 1 is our first ingredient, which is our raw material. Not going to bother to label the rest of these because they aren't going to be asked for. Okay. Number 2 is our next ingredient, which is this subassembly. And number 3 is the first ingredient of number 2. Okay. Number 4 is the last ingredient of 0. 5 is the ingredient of 4. 6 is the next ingredient of 4. 7 is the ingredient of 6. Whee! Create blueprint. There. I'm going to rename this to dual. And we're going to again make this parameter. I'm going to say this is 2. That. And again, I am marking this as assembly machine 1s and wood boxes. That knows the technology level of this blueprint. Here we go. A blueprint. Let's get out of quad. I'm going to put quad down here, and you are, whoops. Did I not? Apparently I didn't hit the OK button. Let's do this again. I'm going to pause while we snap this together. And hit confirm to make sure it actually stores it, and double check to make sure it's stored, and now we can save blueprint. Now when I put out the quad, I can come down here and say, I want to build something complicated. It requires this 2-layer stuff. I'm going to build an assembly machine. And I'm going to put this down. I'm going to say, you are building electric mining drills, which we don't know how to make yet. And that came up with a bunch of X's. So what's the deal on that? I don't know. Apparently my blueprint isn't right. Because this gave me this. Hold on. We'll look at this again. So 0 is the product. 1 is parameter 0. 2, 0. 2 is a parameter 0. Ingredient 0. 3, ingredient of 2. 4 is the last ingredient of 0. There we go. 5 is the ingredient of 4. 6 is ingredient of 4. 7 is ingredient of 6. There. So we save there. This is why you always stamp down your blueprint immediately when you make it to check and make sure it's right. So we're going to start with making assemblers. We don't know how to do it yet, but we're going to make electric mining drills there. That's coming soon. I think that's about it as far as we want to go right now. But we can make more complex things. If I put this down and say make splitters, that'll do the right thing to make splitters. We don't really want to do that, especially not this early on. What I am going to do is I'm going to put down a bunch of singleton machines to make the stuff I don't require in big quantities. We do require big quantities of all this stuff. Oh, there's another tool that I need. We need to make electric poles. There we go. This tells us that I need to have copper plate and wood in this box in order to make electric poles. There we go. And I can remove all of these guys. Do I want to make one of these that has a box input? Yeah, why not? So you are making a 0. I am going to set you up to use filters. I'm going to set up 5 possible inputs here. Some recipes have up to 5 inputs. Okay, so now if I make a recipe here, I'm going to call this single. And keeping our pattern, parametric. 1 assembling machine, and the output's in a wooden box. Single, dual, quad. I'm going to put my blueprint book right there so I can go there, so we can just shift and roll the mouse button to go between them. So as I need to build things, I can just put them out. I'm going to leave these guys out where they are. And our next step is to acquire sufficient resources to get those going. I just realized there is something we're missing here. I need to make burner mining drills. And notice that because this has no other ingredient, it did that. There we go. That gets us the burner mining drills that we need. I also want to do a single. Oh, I didn't set up his parameters, did I? So 0 is the product. Okay, 1 is ingredient of 0, 2 is ingredient of 0, 3 is ingredient of 0, 4 is ingredient of 0. Apparently I didn't get the last one in. That's all right. 4 ingredients should be enough for us for a while. I'm going to go 5 there. And I'm going to oops. You, Control Z. I'm going to offset you by, oops. Control X. You down there. I'm going to move you down by 1. Go. Okay, product. Product is 0. Everybody else is ingredients of 0. All 5 of them. We've got all 5 filters set up properly. 1, 2, 3, 5. 5, 1, 2, 3. It's not going to show 4 on the display thingy there. We go down here, I can say, you are making stone furnaces. In case I need more stone furnaces that I'm making for other things. And what else do we want to make singletons of? We need more wooden boxes. Set these up. I don't actually have to place these, but I will reserve them. Have a dual for that. Actually, I'm going to put these out as I need them. I figure these guys I need. These guys I don't, actually. Well, yeah, I need some of those. So, in order to build these, I need make sure we're building everything we need to use. We're not building inserters. So we do a quad here, and we say you are making inserters. Back and look at this again. So we're making inserters, we're making assembling machines, we're not making wooden boxes. We are not making power poles yet. That back in. Had one and I got rid of it. Here. Oh, never mind. We've got power poles there. And red inserters. Okay. On demand, I am going to put in some long-handled inserters. That has machines making all the machines that I need to make in order to populate this guy. Plus it has this. What else do I need? I need science. That's a dual. I'm going to put it up here at the top. And this guy, put in here. Like that. There's our 2 power poles that we've got. Yeah. Which means I'm going to need to make... I'm going to need to swap those in to make power poles. What I'm going to have to do is pick up these guys, drop them in over here, and instantiate them. But we will need to do one at a time for the moment because we only have one assembling machine. Means I'm going to need to do these guys one at a time by hand. Okay. Single. I'll drop you in there. In order to build more assembling machines, look at the recipe. And I think at this point, this is going to be just step by step poking things in. Build some of these, build some of those, build some of the other. I am going to need to go run over here and get resources. This is probably not going to be very interesting to look back on as a recording from here on for a little bit. It's basically me just running around doing the next thing on the list. So I'm going to cut the recording here. And when we come back, I will have filled in all of this. And I will probably have a great many... Oh, wait a minute. Let's make sure I've got everything here that I'm going to do while I am recording. I do need to create more miners. There we go. That's the one I was missing. So, we'll be making more miners. We'll be making more, assembling more of the stone furnaces, putting them in over here, gathering more resources, bringing it back, starting to populate the rest of this. This is the nano base I'm going to put together. Make sure I have everything I need to make. Okay, the one thing I am not automating, but I'm using one, but I'm not automating is I'm not automating building the labs yet. I can add that later when we decide we want to increase our science consumption rate. It will happen after we scale things up. Anyway, so there it is. Miners, smelters, assemblers, inserters, boxes. We have the smelters from here. We'll have some pipes so we can move this into a better place in the future. We're going to start making some belts. I am going to put down the machines for making the underground and the splitter, which we can't make yet. I'm going to put down a machine for making iron chests because at some point we're going to want to stop dealing with wood. We can't automate wood. Sorry, not for a long time. What else do I need to automate? Let's look at the list. Chest, we've got. Transport belts, we've got. We've got undergrounds and splitters, which we haven't researched yet. We are not automating burner inserters, not using them. I'm going to do that. That would just be an extra load on me as a player. Those two are automated. That's automated. Those two are automated. We're not automating stone bricks. Tell that I've got little text plates that I've added on as a mod. We're not automating any of the power stuff yet. We'll automate that later when we want to scale it up. We're automating furnaces and assembly machines. We're done. These guys are being automated as necessary. He's automated. And we are not automating any of this. So currently, we have no pollution cloud because we have done nothing. And now I am going to start actually becoming the human inserter, the human Logibot. I will see you in the next recording.